The hair is a long one. The fact that it came out of my nose is simultaneously a source of pride and embarrassment. I wonder if anyone saw me extract it. Slowly, I turned my head from side to side, surveying the area around me. A small child holding his mother's hand looks at me curiously. Then he says, "Mommy, did you see the big hair he pulled out of his nose?" In today's world, sneezing in public is sure to turn a few heads. But what if, instead of spewing saliva particles through shared air, bringing you shame and dirty looks, it simply makes you awesome? In Appalling Yet Awesome by Bradley Walton, a teen channels his inner awesome by tuning into his daily bodily functions. Will this truly bring him to the pinnacle of awesome, or could there actually be a downside being? Appalling Yet Awesome by Bradley Walton. I look at the mother. Her eyes are wide with alarm. Clearly, she's humiliated by her child's outburst. Any moment now, she'll smack his hand and hurry off like a frightened zebra. I wait for it, imagining her feeding the child salad and prunes for dessert tonight as further punishment for his social ineptitude. But the moment never comes. The child gazes upward at his mother, awaiting a response which comes in the form of a terse, "Yes, I saw." Clearly, the mother is more disgusted by me than she is embarrassed by her child. "How could you do that in public? In front of me? In front of my son? He'll be stuck with the memory of you pulling that thing out of his nose for the rest of his life. If he becomes an awkward misfit with no social skills and poor hygiene, it'll be all your fault. Because whenever he looks at anyone's nose from now on, he'll think of you." I'm taken aback by her words. Do I have the power to wreck another human being's life with such a casual act as pulling an unsightly hair out of my nose? This would mean I'm a much mightier creature than I'd ever given myself credit for. But the more I think about it, the more I know it to be true. My body is not just filled with nose hairs, but with glistening internal organs, pumping, shifting, digesting, and spurting all manner of fluids and secretions through a vast network of yuck, all while generating even more fluids and secretions, ever stimulating the follicles in my nose, lengthening the nails on my fingers, and growing the hair in my armpits like weeds in the abandoned shopping mall. The child hugs his mother's leg. "Look how you scared him. What do you have to say for yourself?" What can I say for myself? That I have come to realize I possess capacity which might have gone unnoticed? Feculacy unrealized for all of eternity, if not for today's chance encounter. That I owe this woman a debt of gratitude for helping me comprehend my true potential. That her son should aspire to be more like me. That I am thirsty. The last thought catches me off guard. I am quite thirsty, but had not realized it. Perhaps with the preoccupation with the hairs in my nose and the functions of my biology. I head up the sidewalk in the direction of the small downtown market. Most days, I would be inclined to purchase a bottle of water, but today is special. I will celebrate with a soda. I walk through the door and approach the drink cooler. As I stand before the overwhelming variety of artificially colored and flavored beverages, I feel a slight twinge in my nose, perhaps from the realignment of remaining hairs. And all of a sudden, without warning, all over the glass. My reflection is instantly obscured, and I am struck by the wonder of a fact I would have previously taken for granted. The output of my sneeze has altered the travel and direction of light itself. Luminance, which originated in the heart of the sun, and traveled through the frigid vastness of space, braving our harsh and polluted atmosphere, has now met its match in the form of the velocity-enhanced splatter that now covers the formerly transparent cooler door. My saliva is more powerful than the sun itself. My moment of glory is short-lived, though, as I realize the hair is gone from my fingers. I look around, but it is nowhere to be seen. It was carried away, no doubt, in the chaotic jumble of air currents created by my sneeze. This is sad, but fitting. If my nose hair must meet its match, it is only right that its match be from which nose it came. For crying out loud, what just happened? I heard the clerk exclaim. I have defeated the sun. I just cleaned this. Magnificent, isn't it? Get out! Get out! Can I at least buy a drink first? Just take something and leave before you sneeze again. The clerk thrust a bottle of RC Cola into my hand. My horrifically disgusting sneeze has scored me a free soda. Outside, the sun hides behind the cloud, afraid of me. As I enjoy my carbonated refreshment, I see a homeless man sitting on the sidewalk. Today shall be his lucky day. I would take my final swallow and approach him. I will give him my empty soda bottle. The residual DNA from my lips will make it a talisman of formidable power, and his fortunes will now surely change. He looks up at me, a curious and hopeful expression in his eye. It is a deeply profound moment for me, realizing that I bring hope to an unfortunate soul who has none. My spirit overflows with warmth, and I understand that this man needs so much more than an empty bottle of RC Cola. I smile with gentle benevolence, spit into the bottle, and hand it towards him. His brow furrows, uncertain what to make of my generosity. This is for you. Take it. It is yours. The man's mouth opens, but no words come out. He's too overcome to speak, but that is all right. I know that he is grateful and that he will carry the warmth of this moment with him for the rest of his life, as shall I. He silently takes the bottle and gazes at it, in wonder, I'm sure. I pause for a second longer, savoring the sense of human connection, then continue up the street. Without warning, an object whizzes past my head and shatters against the pole of a nearby streetlight. As I examine the shards, I see many pieces that could combine to make an RC Cola logo. This surprises me. RC Cola in glass bottles is most uncommon, and it is very unusual to encounter two in a single day. I wonder where it might have come from, and what sent it on a trajectory so perilously close to my face. I look back down toward the sidewalk, towards the homeless man. He shrugs, indicating that he had not seen where it had come from either. I notice that he does not have the bottle that I gave him. I can only assume he already sold it, no doubt for a hefty sum. I'm disappointed by his short-sightedness. Maybe I will spit into a bottle for him next week. Ahead of me is my ultimate destination, the downtown library. As I walk into the door and towards the large chasm of books, the librarian stands. The librarian looks up from the counter and smiles. The room is deathly quiet, befitting a graveyard for trees. I must do my best to remain silent, as to not create a disturbance in the sanctum of learning and death. As I head toward the fiction section, I feel something shift in my stomach. It occurs to me that I might have consumed my RC Cola with careless haste. I swallow and try to force down which remains to come up. But my efforts are in vain. A paradoxically deafening, yet moist-sounding belch bellows from my stomach. The entire room appears to rattle, although it may be my eyeballs from the force of the emission. The librarian stands. Her expression is cold and stone-like. She points at me and then at the door. The implication is clear. She expects me to leave. This seems unfair, but then she whispers, "Give me your library card and never come back." The enormity of her words takes a while to register. I am being banned from the library for such a simple act as a single burp. I would not have believed such a thing could happen. But it has. I'm elated by the achievement. I hand the librarian my card, spitting on it just to show her there are no hard feelings. And with that, I walk out the door. As I stride into the warm sunlight, a small insect buzzes near my ear. I swat at it as hard as I can, and when I recover my balance, I see no trace of the insect. But there is an impressive amount of earwax. It is disgusting. My mind begins to race at the possibilities. And then the sky darkens. The sun is hiding again. It is still fearful of my sneeze, in much the same way the small child, hysterical mother, market clerk, and librarians still fear the carnage brought by my appalling actions. It is a marvelous thing to be feared, but also lonely. Only the homeless man appreciated me today, but he was so overwhelmed that he could not speak. It is now apparent to me, it is better to find humility and bask in the warmth and companionship of the trusting and unsuspecting than it is to openly wield the power to which my bodily functions possess. I take another look at the wax on my fingers, and with a sigh, I wipe it on my pants. The sun peeks out from behind its cloud, and I continue on my way.